Good morning and welcome. This is Keck with Builderall, your information products training and support specialist. Thanks for joining me for today's live broadcast. Oh, I see Mr. Rooster over there. That's right. That means it's time to rise and grind, grab your caffeination of choice, and let's make this happen. Today's Monday, so that means it's Motivation Monday. We're going to go ahead and try to get our mindset straight for success in business and in life. So I am glad you're with me. I'm going to go ahead and put myself in the corner here, and we are going to go ahead and get started talking about this super cool book here called The Tools, 5 Life-Changing Techniques to Unlock Your Potential. Find courage, inspiration, success, and happiness. Written by Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels. Super cool book. I'm excited to bring this little summary to you today. So let's get into it by starting with a quote from the book. Here we go. The Tools. Between the two of us, Phil and I have 60 years of psychotherapy experience. Based on this experience, we've identified 4 fundamental problems that keep people from living the lives they want to live. How much happiness and satisfaction you get out of life will depend on how well you can free yourself from those problems. Each of the next 4 chapters addresses one of these. Each chapter also provides you with the tool that works most effectively on that problem. We'll explain how the tool connects you to a higher force, and we'll explain how that force solves your problem. The health of our society depends on the efforts of each individual. Every time one of us gains access to higher forces, all of us benefit. That places a special responsibility on those who know how to use the tools. They become the first to bring higher forces to the rest of society. They are pioneers, building a new, reinvigorated community. I wake up every morning grateful that higher forces are there. They never stop revealing themselves in new ways. Through this book, we share their magic with you. We're excited about the journey you're about to undertake. Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels from The Tools. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to unpack some of the big ideas from this book. We're going to focus on these big ideas. Why we need tools. Changing attitude isn't enough. The tools, 5 of them in a nutshell. Willpower, the most important tool. Consumer versus creator, take your pick. Being a work in progress, we all are. And refusing a limited life is a good idea. Staying plugged in is a challenge. Leading the way, and changing the world. Okay, so let's look at all these big ideas and unpack them just a little bit. The first one, why we need tools. A change in attitude won't stop you from screaming because attitudes cannot control behavior. They're not strong enough. To control behavior, you need a specific procedure to use at a specific time to combat a specific problem. That's what a tool is. The point is that a tool, unlike an attitude adjustment, requires you to do something. Not only does it take work, it's work you have to do over and over again, every time you get frustrated. A new attitude means nothing unless followed by a change in behavior. The surest way to change behavior is with a tool. So these are the 5 tools, and we'll unpack each of them just briefly also. So I love this idea that to control a behavior, you need a specific procedure to use at a specific time to combat a specific problem. That's what a tool is. I love that. So these are the 5 tools in question here. We'll unpack them just a little bit. But the idea is some circumstances call for a particular tool, and we have to develop triggers in ourselves so we know when it's time to use the tool. So tool number 1 is the reversal of desire, the higher force, forward motion. Tool number 2, active love. The higher force here is outflow. Tool number 3, inner authority. The higher force here is self-expression. Tool number 4, the grateful flow. The higher force is the source. And tool number 5, Jeopardy. The higher force is willpower. So notice these higher forces, forward motion, outflow, self-expression, the source, willpower. These are kind of these superpowers we're talking about, or the higher powers. All right, so, and again, I'll unpack all 5 of these just briefly. So the first one, the reversal of desire. The higher force is forward motion, like we said. We all tend to avoid emotional pain. This is not good. It dramatically limits our potential. If we want to have a shot at actualizing our potential, we need to reverse our desire, and rather than crawl up in a little ball and try to avoid pain, we want to discipline ourselves to get excited about the challenges in our lives. We need to know that our infinite potential exists on the other side of our comfort zones, and that the only way to break through to that infinite potential is to bring on the pain. Learn to love it and use it to catalyze our growth. Easier said than done, but wow, this tool rocks. So the reversal of desire. Our desire usually is to avoid pain. Avoid even the smallest step outside of our comfort zone. Avoid the challenges. But here this tool tells us to reverse that desire and get excited when we see those challenges or see things we might perceive as painful in our lives. Get excited about that. So do a reversal on the desire. Tool number 2 is active love. Outflow is the higher force we're talking about here. You ever get stuck in a mental loop where you're looping around in your head again and again and again about all the things someone has done to annoy you? Stutz and Michaels call that the maze. We want to notice when we're stuck in the maze and get out. How? Use the active love tool. Focus on your heart, and rather than mentally beat the person up who annoyed you, beam them love. Sounds a little weird, but it's a lot awesome. Okay, this does sound a little weird, but I can totally relate. This mental loop, the maze, okay? You may be like me in that sometimes I have these discussions, only in my head with somebody that maybe I'm disagreeing with, and I'm, kind of having this imaginary discussion, and usually I imagine it going all wrong, the worst of ways, right? So anytime you have that kind of maze thing going on in your head where something's just looping around and around, I mean, it's not even real. It's just, it's just thoughts in your head here. So that's the time to instead focus on your heart rather than your mentality and beam them love. I've never heard that before, but I have heard the idea of projecting love, and it's really the same thing. It's like wishing well to somebody, beaming them love, projecting love, just saying mentally to yourself, I love you, to that person. It does wonders. If this isn't a superpower, my friends, nothing is. The higher force of outflow through active love is real, and it is never failing and never ending. So check that out. The third tool is inner authority. The higher force here is self-expression. How's your shadow doing these days? That part of you that you most despise and prefer to hide from the world. Well, we need to bring that darkness to light. Without integrating those aspects of ourselves we're ashamed of, we can't fully trust ourselves and express ourselves with authority. Stutz and Michael help us create a living embodiment of that shadow self and call it up when we feel fear in front of people. My version? A 4'11", 88-pound, anxiously shy little 14-year-old version of me who was the smallest kid in high school and terrified of most things. When I can team up with that version of me rather than the wish he didn't exist, my power explodes. I get tears in my eyes just typing that. But the inner authority, the parts of us that we think are not enough, we need to not just bury that part of it, but be in touch with it. It's a real part of us. It's okay to feel what we're feeling. And when we allow ourselves to do that, again, we experience this higher force and the power of self-expression. Tool number 4, the grateful flow. The source is the higher force in question here. Feeling depressed, overwhelmed, or otherwise drinking from the ick fountain? It's time to connect to source by getting your grateful flow on. At this stage, we all know that gratitude is scientifically proven to boost our mood, but Stutz and Michaels take it to the next level and make conjuring gratitude a fine art. Discipline your mind to always see the amazing things in your life. Trust me, they're there. You just have to look for them sometimes. Get your grateful flow flowing. There's no better way to connect to the source of all higher forces, joy, love, all things good, than gratitude. And I'm sure you've heard this before. Gratitude is indeed a superpower. It's a high power. And you want to be in the habit, I love how it says here, of always seeing the amazing things in your life. So much of life comes down to perception, what we choose to focus on. Look for and focus on the amazing things in your life and try to stay as close as you can to an attitude of gratitude all the time and watch your life just change in dramatic, awesome ways. All right, and the fifth of these tools is Jeopardy. The higher force here is willpower. All those tools are nice, but guess what? They're a pain in the to implement. Stutz-and-Michaels makes the genius point that we all want to be exonerated from future work. We want to tap into the magic secret that allows us to be done with this whole hard work thing once and for all. Well, that's not how it works. We need willpower if we want to actualize. This tool leans into the Jeopardy game show soundtrack to remind us that time is ticking and you need to respond to life now. I love that. In fact, Jeopardy just happens to be one of my favorite television shows. But imagine yourself on your deathbed. You have no more moments to live. Guess what? That version of you wishes you'd finally do the things you know are best for you. Use the Jeopardy tool, that little song, to tap into your ultimate power, willpower. So that's a quick look at the 5 tools in the book. And now we'll get back to the rest of the big ideas. Next one's willpower, the most important tool. Very few models of human growth accept this, let alone give you a way to build your willpower. Instead, they pretend it's easy to change your life. It isn't. Our approach is the opposite. We're telling you the truth about how difficult it's going to be, and we're going to make you strong enough to face the challenge. Doing that means increasing your willpower, which is what the 5th tool does. In a sense, it's the most important one. The tool that makes sure you keep using the other tools. It won't matter how effective the other 4 are if you don't use them, and you're going to need your willpower to make that happen. Next big idea, consumer versus creator. The consumer expects a reward for the slightest effort, or better, for no effort at all. He cares only about what he gets from the world, not about what he might add to it. Living on the surface, jumping from thing to thing, his energy is diffused like milk spreading across a tabletop. He makes no impact on the world. When his time on earth is over, it is as if he never lived. The creator won't accept that fate. Everything he does is with the intention of making an impact on the world. His code ensures this. He doesn't accept the world as he finds it. He brings things into the world that aren't already there. He doesn't follow the herd. He sets his own course. He ignores the reactions of others. He resists superficial distractions. He remains focused on the goals, even if he has to sacrifice his immediate gratification. Anyone can live by this code, but very few of us do. It means putting your life in the service of higher forces. These forces can't be found on the surface of life. They're found in its depths. The creator's energy must have the singular focus of a drill boring through stone. As difficult as that is, a creator is rewarded many times over for his efforts. So consumer versus creator. Let's be creators. The next big idea, joyfully being a work in progress. I can confidently predict that you're going to find yourself in the exact same boat. You'll try the tools, love what they do for you, and yet you'll stop using them. How can this be so widespread? The answer is that our entire culture has an unreal view of what it means to be human. We like to think of ourselves as finished products, complete on our own. But we're not. To be whole, we need to stay connected to something beyond ourselves. The constant effort that requires means that a human being can never be more than a work in progress. Joyfully being a work in progress. That's great. The next one, refuse to have a limited life. A few rare individuals refuse to have limited lives. They drive through tremendous amounts of pain, from rejection and failures to shorter moments of embarrassment and anxiety. They also handle the small, tedious pain required for personal discipline, forcing themselves to do things we all know we should do, but don't, like exercising, eating right, and staying organized. Because they avoid nothing, they can pursue their highest aspirations. They seem more alive than the rest of us. Refuse to have a limited life. I love that. Don't be limited by the things you're afraid of. Don't be limited by the fear of pain or staying in your comfort zone. Step out and realize your life is a work in progress and avoid nothing. Next one, staying plugged in. Think of your mind as a newly bought state-of-the-art flat-screen TV. You eagerly take it out of the box, but it won't play. An electrical connection has come loose. There's no buying a new connection. You have to fix it with your own effort. Worse, the connection will keep coming loose. You'll have to fix it every day. But the broken connection in your mind isn't to electrical power, it's to higher forces. And every time the connection breaks, one of your personal problems appears. The tool repairs the connection. That's why they work. But the connection never lasts. It will break again. That makes using the tool a task without end. See, there is no quick fixes in life. There is no magic pill. There is work. Okay, and you have to do the work in your life. And this is a great analogy of that you've got to stay plugged in. That's a great way to think of it, that you always have to fix that connection every day. Because every day we have the choice to choose where we put our focus and how we choose to perceive the things around us. So that's great, staying plugged in. The next big idea, leading the way. Let's imagine what this might look like. Close your eyes and use the reversal of desire on something you normally avoid. Feel yourself starting to move forward. Now see those around you, inspired by your forward motion, using the tool on whatever they're avoiding. See millions of people embracing pain and as a result moving forward in their lives. How does the society you're imagining look different from the one we have now? When millions of individuals stop avoiding and start moving forward, there are no social problems they cannot solve. It's only a society that embraces pain that will lead the way for the rest of the world. To help you become a creator, the book has to do more than convey ideas. It has to awaken those higher forces inside you. To keep those forces vital, you will have to use the tools long after you've finished reading. In fact, for the rest of your life. That's our ultimate goal, for you to maintain an unending relationship with higher forces. Call us crazy, but nothing less will satisfy us. And if you aspire to be a creator, nothing less will satisfy you either. So there it is, a look at The Tools. Great book by Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels. The big ideas we unpacked a little is why we need the tools, because changing attitude is not enough. The tools, all 5 of them, we talked about briefly and how important they are, and the idea of training yourself to, when a situation occurs, triggering yourself to pull out that tool and use it. Consumer versus creator. Take your pick. We want to be creators. Willpower is the most important tool. Being a work in progress, that's all we are. We're never finished. Refusing a limited life, that's a great idea. Staying plugged in every day, we've got to monitor where's our consciousness, and leading the way and changing the world as others will see what we're doing and follow in success. All right, my friends. Well, that's it for today. Monday Motivation. Great look at the book, The Tools. It really is one of the greats. It's a hard one to do a summary of because it's just, if you buy it and read it and you're into highlighting, you'll probably highlight the whole thing. It is fantastic. All right, friends. Well, I appreciate you spending this time with me, and I'm going to encourage us, like I do every day, to let's go build it with Builderall. And I'll say ciao for now, friends. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks for being